What's going on, guys? Sean Down is back with a technical analysis. Here we have Whitney Simmons, a fellow D3 hammer and weight standout and Ironwood Throws Club teammate. So, Whitney said she just needs some help. So yeah, that's what I'm here for. I'm gonna help her out. Always happy to help out any of you guys. Gonna do it a little bit different today. Want to do as much as possible to help her out, so I'm gonna try to look at like 3 different videos really quickly. Well, the first 2, I don't know, 3 different videos. I have a 4K competition throw right here, and then on deck I have a 6K training throw and a 3K training throw. I want to show her. I want to show you, Whitney, what I just want to go through your typical 4K comp throw, and then I think the 6K will emphasize some of the things that go wrong in your throw, and I think the 3K will emphasize some of the things that go right in your throw. Hopefully. We'll see. Hopefully it works out as well as I think it will in my head. So let's take a look at this comp throw from literally yesterday.
Good start.
So easy looking throw, opener, sounds like good start. I think this is your second competition of the year.
Good start.
And yeah, so like I said, 4 kilos. I don't know how far it is, but it doesn't matter. So let's break it down. Okay, the winds and stuff I think are pretty standard. Whitney is like a 60, I can't remember her PR exactly, but over 60 meter hammer thrower. Winds are pretty decent. And if I recall correctly, she trains with Josh Brannon. Or trains with or trains at the same circle, sometimes around, I'm not exactly sure, but at the same circle. So, and they do kind of have similar tendencies. So Whitney, if you're watching this, talk to Josh, and he can help you probably understand some of the cues that I'm going to throw at you. And yeah, I don't know. Nice job letting the ball come left in the second wind. Arguably a little bit too far left. My computer's running nice and slow today. I love it. But nice job. Ball's parallel to the ground right here. Hips are a little bit too far forwards. You get a little extension to the low back. Generally not a fan of that. Try to engage your abs a little bit more and keep your pelvis tucked forwards. And try to stay perfectly upright. Like I think Anita Vladarchuk is a perfect example of being upright in the winds. Ball gets very long left and right. She doesn't extend backwards at the lumbar spine or anything like that. So she stays very stable, and the more stable you are in your winds, the more stable you will be in your entry, and the more stable your entry is, everything else is better too. So coming through the second wind, and one thing that kind of gets me is like you can see your hands, you keep them up right through here, and you do a really good job extending out towards the right, so that's really good. But then as you can see, it looks like you almost kind of guide the ball to set up your low point just past 0. So like as you come through here, you can see, looks like right there, you are guiding the ball just a little bit too much rather than relaxing. So like after the ball comes through 270, you want to think about, rather than pushing the ball across, you want to think about throwing the ball forwards. So like towards 0, technically I guess it would be parallel to 0, not actually through to 0, but in a straight line parallel to 0 back to the back of the circle towards the cage. You want to think about throwing the ball forward, just a little nudge, push the ball forwards, and then relax. If you want a good drill to do to teach this, hit me up afterwards. There's a video on Hammer Media of Sergey Litvinov demonstrating this drill, and I've been doing it, and I've told all my clients to do it, and it's helped everybody out tremendously because it does really teach the balance between the right side and the left side, and activity and passivity, and just learning how to relax and let the ball do its thing in the entry. So like I said, you just guide the ball a little bit too much here rather than like pushing the ball forwards, throwing the ball forwards, and then just relaxing and letting it turn around you. You can see there's just a little bit of guiding here. And it's not bad. Low point is just at 0. You're just slightly ahead of the ball. This isn't quite at 0, so it's hard to tell exactly, but just slightly ahead of the ball. But then you do a good job waiting for it. Turning with the ball, turning with the ball, turning with the ball. So like solid entry, but that's just that low point. It's like right here between 0 and maybe like 10 degrees past 0. I'm personally a fan of setting it up just slightly before 0, like 15, 30 degrees approximately before 0, because the low point is going to more or less shift throughout the throw, And as soon as the low point shifts past 0 or past your left foot, then the only way to keep tension with that shifted low point is to pull the left side and create tension, rather than if you set it up just slightly before 0, it'll shift naturally and tension will be much more natural, as I've said so many times now. Good job working your hips towards the ball. Looks like you're a little bit high. That was one thing I wanted to mention too during your winds. Maybe bend your knees a little bit. So think about posture, hips forwards, posterior pelvic tilt. Google that if you don't know what that is. Keep your torso perfectly upright, shoulders and hips over each other. Like I said, don't lean back in the winds. Don't extend at the lumbar spine. Stay stacked. And then just think about bending your knees. So like the position that you drop into this first wind, or into the first turn on the first catch, that's kind of where you want to try to start the winds as well. So like as you come down here, you can see your knees are bent now. Try to sit down a little bit more just in your winds. Like I said, set your hips, set your posture, and then bend your knees. Sit down as much as you can without breaking posture. So you'll be in like a nice quarter squat, front squat sort of position. So think front squat. And that'll help once again with stability. So as you come through 0, nice job going around the left side. You do a good job waiting for the ball, and then you catch. See, so this is one thing. It's hard to tell because the video is relatively far away. But what you want to do is think about driving your right hip. So like right as the ball comes through, right about here, as soon as it comes through this right sector line. Why is it going backwards? There we go. Okay. So as it comes through the right sector line, you want to feel the ball stretch down here, and you want to drive your right hip kind of towards the ball, right hip towards the high point. And then so you have to anticipate a little bit, but that'll kind of have you go with the ball towards 180. You want to feel that directional energy kind of towards the sector. And then what you want to do is try to open your hips, keep your hips open, and catch with your hips square to the ball. As you can see, you step around just a little bit, and so you turn inside of the ball just a bit. So your hips are like turned towards like 270 while the ball is just slightly before 270. So you get a bit of separation, which is good, but also if your hips aren't open enough, you aren't exactly connected to the ball, and then the low point is going to shift just slightly more, and you're going to be a little bit disconnected to the ball. And I think that's kind of what happens throughout your throw. Your hips and your posture play a big part in this low point shifting, and that's probably why the throw might feel empty, as I call it. Like the ball's moving, but it just doesn't feel powerful. You don't feel that tension. Tension is key to connection, but also natural connection, like relaxing your arms and feeling the ball rather than creating tension with your left side. That's the difference. So like I said, you just catch a little bit, not even over rotated. Just your hips are just a little bit too rotated relative to the ball. As you come through 0, I mean, it's pretty solid. Left side's lined up. You don't really shift back too much. Right leg's working with the ball. Very nice tight knees. But you see there's just a little bit of left leg straightening. And like I said, Josh has a similar problem as well. You need to use this right leg as the ball comes through 0. And you need to think about holding this this left side. So like this left hip needs to stay right there. Left leg needs to stay bent. You need to stay down. You need to load that left side. You can see this left leg just straightens out just slightly, and the hip shifts back just slightly. And then, so like right here, you don't quite go out left with the ball. The ball goes left, but then you shift back just a little bit. Because of that, you get pulled around. You catch. Once again, pretty solid, but just slightly heavy on this right side, as you can see. It's very subtle, very minute, but just a little bit heavy on this right side. And because of that, things are going to start kind of driving directionally down the left sector line rather than straight towards 180 or even slightly towards the right sector line. Yeah, so you can see here, you land a little heavy on that right side, so this right leg's a little bit more bent than that left. Left leg's a little bit too straight, and that's once again going to kind of shift you over this left side, sorry, right side, camera view left side. You can see left leg straightening out a little bit just too early. So what you have to do is wait for the ball to pass just a little bit more. This left side action is fine, but it just happens like 2 frames too early, and that's what kind of shifts you backwards. And you can start to see your pendulum action is just a little bit late. So you like go to lean back or sit back just a little bit, but instead of it being towards 180 or towards the right sector line, it's towards the left sector line. You can see the perfect line literally from your left leg and the hammer wire and your shoulders and your right femur even pointing backwards in this direction. And one of the other competition throws you sent me, you could see you cage the throw, and that's kind of the same thing that happens here. But you do a good job waiting for the ball, but that left hip is just shifting back too early. You need to wait for the ball to pass more, work that right side with it more. Because that left leg is straightening out a little bit, and you are back heavy on that right side, this left side kind of, I wouldn't call it flopping, but it does seem to like open and kind of lead the ball just through this section right here. And you see you lift your hands a little bit as well, especially, I was going to mention this early on, but now it's definitely more noticeable. Ball looks like it's coming through right here, and your hands just lift. So you can see right here is a perfect example. At this point, you should relax your arms completely, and your arms and the ball should be in a perfectly straight line, whereas you can see there's a slight inclination between your hands and arms and the ball. Can't really draw a line, but it's very subtle, like less than 5 degrees. But that lifting is what is also going to kind of cause you to rise around this left side and kind of catch a little heavy on the right side. Let's see, so here, the lifting of the hands, you can see your hips are going to start to sink down just slightly, and you get pulled around. What needs to happen is, like I said, once again, that right hip kind of needs to chase the ball out to the left, and then you got to drive towards it, whereas, like I said, this left leg straightens out, you pull back a little bit, and then the hips sink down, and you lose connection just a bit. So I don't know what it feels like, but I imagine like you're kind of guessing where the ball is at in space, and sometimes you catch well, and sometimes you don't. And you can see, so that lifting, that hip sinking, that a little bit of left side leading comes around, and then you end up catching later than you did on the previous 2 turns. Slightly over-rotated, if any at all, it's hard to tell, but ball's at 270, so catching a little bit late. And then once that happens, that left side needs to pull more, so you see this left side drop, creating tension, and the right side's working, but once again, that pendulum is just coming late, so you're leaning back, you're driving backwards towards the sector just a little bit too late once again, and it's going down kind of once again this left sector line. Your energy is kind of misdirected, and you see you're turning inside of the ball, that left shoulder comes back, the left hip comes back, right side's trying to work, but there's just nothing there because there's not much tension, not much connection that can be felt because the left side's taken over and kind of doing everything. So then because of that left side tension, this left side's going to straighten up again, pull back a little bit. Hands are going to come up, and you can see the tension of the ball pulls you this way. Once again, you need to get that tension, that connection, that ball pulling you more towards 180, more towards the right sector line. And then once again, you kind of catch late. So this 4th turn is actually your latest catch. And that's, like, once again, a good example that your left side's pulling, your hips are sinking, your posture's breaking, whatever it may be. Those little things that go wrong in your throw are coming to fruition, later on in the throw. So you catch a little bit late, and then you just kind of hang on and release nice and easy. So that's the 4K. Like I said, the big thing here is just try to set up the low point a little bit more on the right side of your body. Like I said, 15, 30 degrees before 0. Try not to guide the ball. Like I said, I'll send you that drill, or you can ask me for that drill if I remember or don't remember, vice versa. Don't lift your hands, and then you can see your hips just go backwards a little bit right here as the ball goes towards the sector, and you come back around. If my computer ever catches up, you can see like right here your hips kind of go back on this first catch. All right, it's just that little break in posture that's going to shift the orbit just a hair. And once that happens, that left side is going to take over. You're going to have to lift more, create more tension with that left side rather than feeling it the right side. Yeah, it's that posture on the first catch that really gets you. Posture on the second catch, once again, not great. Like I said, a little bit heavy on the right, shoulders a little bit forwards, hips a little bit back. And then same thing, coming through. Left side pulls more, left leg flops a little bit, turning inside the ball. Energy is going down the left sector line rather than 180. So, alright, so that's the 4K. I'm going to go break down the 6K next. So here's the 6K. Let's watch this. This is a good example of your hips sinking and stuff, and kind of shifting back. This throw is once again very similar to Josh's throw. Um, he has a lot of the same problems, I believe. So winds once again pretty good, but then you see like right through here, my computer's just really slow today. You can see you kind of drop this left shoulder down, so you're staying like nice and tall posturally. Your head's nice and tall, chest is up, but then this left side kind of sinks down right here. All right, you see this tilt in the shoulders. Try to keep your shoulders level at all times. Hips level, shoulders level at all times, ideally. But this left side dipping down just a little bit is what kind of, I think, causes some problems for you. So keep that left shoulder up. Don't drop it down. You can see it gets even more accentuated here. Right shoulder high, left shoulder low. A little extension to the low back. And then as you come through, do a good job waiting for the ball, pushing your hands across, eyes closed, noise. At least that's what it looks like. I don't know. But so you're almost too patient on this entry. So what happens is you need to go with the ball. You're letting the ball pass really well, but your lower body needs to turn with it. Your hips need to go with it. You need to work with the ball, not just let it pass. You almost let it pass too much, and your body's playing catch up now. So that's why you kind of get pulled around a little bit. So once again, like as the ball goes left, you kind of need to go left and forward with it. Whereas right now you're just kind of turning with it, like not turning with it, but you're being pulled around. The ball's pulling you around rather than you working with the ball. The ball's dictating your movement rather than you guys working together. You catch. Once again, so this is the posture that I'm talking about in the previous throw. You can see your hips are a little bit back, shoulders are a little bit forwards. Ideally, you want this left shoulder over this left hip, over this left heel. Hips just more forwards. Because posture is just a little bit back, your left heel gets down. And then what needs to happen is your hips need to come more forwards as your hands pass. So hips towards hands is a good cue, especially in the entry. Like I said, that'll help catch. You really just want that right hip underneath you on that first catch. But so you don't catch with great posture. And so this is the left hip shifting back. So right here, this is a good position. And at this point, the ball should go left, and this right hip should kind of chase the ball around left. And everything should kind of go around this left side. Whereas you're going to see this left hip shift back a solid foot or so. All right. So the left hip, the hips are shifting back and away from the ball. And once again, not great for connection. You're just kind of playing tug of war, spinning out. Once again, you kind of come around, and then same thing. Hip's going to be right here. Now you're once again left shoulder is over this right foot rather than back over this left foot. Right hip's back. Can't really do much with it. If those hips are back, you can't really use that right leg effectively. And then, like I said, it's all up to the left side and the left shoulder and stuff to create tension to get the ball going. Left heel comes down early, but yeah, same thing. Hips are going to shift back. And you see here, this left foot glides. That's a sign that the left side's doing too much work, mostly because, well, you're so heavy on this right side because posture's broken, so left side needs to kind of fight your way out of it. So left foot glides a little bit, and then you come around. And so you're starting to get back to the better posture, but you just have so much inertia going over this right side that there's not much you can do to combat it. So now you see this left side drop, and you're fighting for tension, fighting for connection. But hip still comes back again, and the left foot glides again. And then once again, you kind of catch late here. So that this short 6K and all these heavy hammers are going to accentuate all of your problems. So that gives you a better idea of what I'm talking about with like that kind of posture that you need to work on in that first catch. Right hip forwards, left shoulder back over left hip, or even behind the left hip. So like think about your left butt pocket. Think about getting your shoulder kind of like back behind that left hip. Right hip forward, and the catch will go a long ways. So that is the short 6K, and for a quick breakdown of the 3K. So I think the 3K is this is the best throw that you sent me in terms of technique. You could do a good job going around your left side. Your posture is pretty solid, and that is because it's a lighter ball, so it's easy to maintain that posture. Coffee break. So as you come through, so this is what I'm talking about. Your low point 30, 45 degrees before 0. Alright, this is good. Left side, nice and stable. Right side, you do pick up a little bit early. But you see this right hip chase around this left side. Also, don't lift. You're not lifting too bad. It's a 3K, so it's not going to be too hard to manage, but don't lift your hands. Relax your hands. Right hip chases the ball out. You go, but the big thing is that you go around this left side. You can see it right here. All right, left hip, and then you go around. You catch. Solid catch. Hips more square to the ball. Your left shoulder could still be back a little bit more over this left hip, but it's better than the other two throws. Better connection. You see this right side working with the ball. You see this? Boom. And your pendulum timing, you see how you start to shift backwards right as the ball approaches 0. Boom. Spot on. That's what I'm talking about. Left side's nice and stable. Right side goes around that left side. Boom. Catch. A little late, relatively speaking, because I think you do have a little bit of this lift in your hands as you come through. Don't create orbit. Gravity creates orbit. You don't create it. Catch. Heel comes down. Boom. Once again, you can see right, it's in the head movement. You can kind of see you shift back. Once again, pendulum, spot on. Right as the ball approaches 0, you shift back, right legs work with the ball. A little bit, so, and you can see the same sort of thing here. This left leg wants to lead into that third turn, but you still do a pretty good job of going around this left side with the right side. You catch a little bit late because that left leg opens up still, but you're doing a much better job going around this left side. And pendulum is spot on. You can see that low point still doesn't really shift past 0. It's just before 0. You pendulum back. Left side leads still a little bit here. But you could be a little bit more active with this right leg. Like think more of an A skip. Piston, like a knee drive. Up and down, piston driving up and down rather than, you can see you kind of peel off here and then get a little lazy with that right side. And that's why you kind of catch a little bit late in this final turn. But so this is a better example of what needs to happen in terms of that right side going on the left, better posture, pendulum timing up at the right point just before 0, low point setting up just before 0 as well. So a lot of stuff in this video. Hopefully this helped you out, Whitney. Let me know if you have any questions. A lot of stuff that I covered, so won't be surprised if you will. And yeah, talk to Josh. He can help explain some of this stuff. Talk to me. I can help explain some of this stuff. So yeah. That covers it all. If you guys out there watching have made it this far, go sign up for technical analysis of your own, because clearly you are interested in improving your hammer technique. So go to SeanDonnelly.biz, sign up for an in-depth technical analysis, or join SDTC and get a technical membership, and I can just hit you up with technical cues all the time. Send me as much video as you want. I'm here to help. So, alright. Thanks for watching. Sean Don. Peace now.